probably the best game of his career against UConn, a pair of sacks, and really kind of spearheaded the defense this week. So moving forward to Eastern Michigan homecoming on Saturday. And, Coach, we're going to open up the statement. Again, if you can introduce yourself and your media outlet before you ask your question, we appreciate it.
All right, very good, John. Thank you. I want to thank everyone. Appreciate you for being here. I tell you, it was a tremendous crowd. Game day atmosphere. It just continues to get better. We're looking forward to another big-time crowd this weekend as we get ready for homecoming against Eastern Michigan. I also get a little shout-out to our Lou Tepper's granddaughter who sang the national anthem. I mean, if anybody heard that, was very impressed. So it was a great day for Coach Tepper and his family, and real proud of Brianna. It was a significant win for our program Saturday against UConn. I thought we had tremendous effort, energy, intensity. Our coaches, players did a tremendous job. A couple of young men that were recognized this week by the Mid-American Conference. Pat Clark was the Special Teams MAC East Special Teams Player of the Week, along with Adam Redden was the MAC East Defensive Player of the Week for their performances. Pat had a 49 and a 50-yarder that were significant in helping us secure this win, along with Adam Redden, you know, who really set the tone on Saturday, as we know, has done a great job, and he continues to get better. But it was an important step in the right direction for our program. But our team has set goals for themselves, and it's important for them to understand how to transition out of this game and move forward into the week of preparation against Eastern Michigan. We've already gotten into the film, and we know we have a very good opponent coming in to our stadium on Saturday, homecoming at noon. So we know we're going to have to respond, and that's really where the focus is right now for our football team. This gentleman to my right, your left, Bo Bachtel, asked him to come in here today. He, as John mentioned, probably had a great, probably one of his career days for himself in this program. Helped our defense hold UConn to 27 yards rushing, 0.7 yards a carry. He had 5 tackles. He had 2 sacks, a couple TFLs, quarterback hurries. I mean, we sacked their quarterback 5 times. I was impressed with the way we were able to put pressure on the quarterback. 7 quarterback hurries in that game where we did not give up 1 sack. So I was real proud of our offensive line and Joe and the offense in terms of operating that way. Also the takeaways. Defensively, we took the ball away 4 times and converted them into points, which was huge for us to be able to get that done. Coach Oliver, our defensive line coach, has been very, very impressed with the leadership and the effort and intensity that Bo has brought. And in a short period of time, he's really raised that level on that side of the ball and has really contributed tremendously to our football team up at this point. We're looking for great things to happen from him. And he's a pretty good singer, I hear. So we're looking forward to answering any question you gentlemen may have. Anthony is suspended. Yep. No, it's he's right now suspended currently until further information we find out in the process. So right now it's not it's a day-to-day situation.
Now, talk about James Potts a little bit. He's moved up on the depth chart. He seemed to run pretty good for the past on Saturday.
James has that ability. He's a very instinctive runner. He certainly has a good burst. He's trained himself. James, has really found a way to capitalize on his opportunities. And I tell you, he had another big hit in the game, not carrying the ball, but being on punt return, which sprung a big return for us. We've been harping on our kids about being explosive in the special teams area, and it was James Potts and special teams that helped us out on that one big return by Alex Nutz for 24 yards. So he's, he loves the game. He's a very passionate young man, and he's really starting to, recognize his role and accept that role. And know that, he's responsible towards his team, and this team, when he gets a chance out there, he wants to prove that he can play at this level, and he's getting that opportunity. We're going to continue keeping him featured into the game plan each week.
Right now his role is special teams backup, tails active.
Correct. His role. James Potts is a starter on a number of special teams and he will back up Bo. I think he's earned that. And it was nice to see Bo back in there Saturday. And I think, one of our goals was to get over 100 yards rushing so we could get that part of our game plan established, and we were able to achieve that. And both Bo and Potts and the offensive line, our fullbacks, all those guys, tight ends, did a great job getting that done. But James really has done a nice job in understanding his role and accepting that role.
Coach, can you talk about the difference between playing, the 4 non-conference teams you just played, now you're coming in against teams that you're more familiar with and you see more often?
Well, we take each one individually. We learned a lot about our football team. You start out the season playing against a great team like Ohio State. I got a chance to catch a little bit of their game against Wisconsin. So that was a very good, formidable opponent. It was a great start for us to see how we measured up. The Baylor game, certainly we learned a lot in that one. The Stony Brook having to, come into 4 or 5 overtimes to pull that win out. And then UConn. Those games all allowed us to see where we're at with our personnel, our schemes, the way our preparation, and I think we're in a very good place. Now what that means is that it should give us a tremendous amount of confidence, but staying in the moment, I think, is important. Staying locked into the process, not the prize. Continue to see our kids grow and develop and know that we believe in them. And I think those 4 games gave us a tremendous amount of confidence. Now what we have to do is be able to put it all together against a very good football team in Eastern Michigan. And we know Eastern hasn't they played 3 very good football teams. They lost to Penn State, Rutgers, and Ball State. And I think everyone knows that those are 3 pretty good football teams, and they got a good start. But I think we're right where we wanted to be, where we expect to be. Now what we have to do is go in this one. It's an important game. It's important for us. It's important for us to take care of business Saturday, but we're going to have a great week of prep and see where it carries us as we continue our focus and mission towards accomplishing our goals.
Well, does it feel like a second season, just the way that the schedule does break off, that you guys had the 4 non-conference in a bunch and now shift right into conference play from here on out?
Well, yeah, in a way it does, but the way that me and a lot of the guys on the team look at it is, the season itself, we don't really look too far into the future. It's more of just right now, game finishes, turn the page on to the next one. So right now, Eastern Michigan, that's all I'm thinking, that's really all that I'm worried about. So.
Bo, Paul Peck from Buffalo Bulls Radio. You've noticed, obviously, that Khalil is getting a lot of attention. A lot of times he's on the opposite side of you. You obviously have an opportunity to take advantage of that. How much have you noticed it? How much has it changed? And is there some satisfaction on your part that that you opened maybe some opponents' eyes based on what you did Saturday?
Yeah. That
if they're going to take their chances with Khalil, that they're going to have to deal with you and the other guys as well.
I actually kind of enjoyed it. It's nice having him on that side because they like to run the ball to my side, and plus I got Adam Redden over there, so I'll hold up a block, he'll come in, or Blake Bean, somebody like that. So that's always nice, and you can't complain when people want to run the ball to you. That gives you more opportunity to make plays. So I'm really privileged to play with players like Khalil Mack and Colby Way on that side too, because they're great players, and when opponents look at them, they'll say, oh, people want to run the ball to that guy. They don't really know that Bo kid, so it gives me a good chance to get in there and make some plays. So I'm pretty happy about that.
What are you guys seeing from Eastern offensively? It looks like they're fairly balanced in terms of how they're doing that.
Absolutely. They're a ball control first offense. Time of possession's been very good. They're one of the top, so, they're very efficient, moving the chains, run the ball. They take they're very patient, with their shots downfield. But we got to be very disciplined. We got to pursue well. We got to get off blocks well. They want to run the ball. They're condensed in their formations. Their quarterback does a nice job, Benz. They've got a new offensive coordinator this year, and a lot of people may remember this, but Stan Parrish is their offensive coordinator, who used to be the head coach at Ball State, was with Brady Hoke, before Brady left to go to San Diego. So, we got a lot of respect for Stan and how he runs the offense. So they're very efficient. But, it's going to be a great test for our defensive players, to be able to, get them out of off schedule. And what I mean by that is 4 yards. We have to be able to keep them from moving the chains on second and third down because they've been very solid. On the flip side, their defense is one of the best third and fourth down defenses. They held Penn State to 1 of 10 on third down and 1 of 8 against Rutgers. So, they've got our full attention in terms of making sure we do a great job on our first and second down plays offensively against their defense, and then still be able to convert. So the flip side holds true for our defense. So they're going to be challenged in terms of stopping the run game.
Jeff, their leading receiver is their tight end. He's got 8 more catches than any of their receivers. That's a little unusual for what you see on a regular basis. What kind of a challenge does that present to your defense?
Well, I think it's going to put a little challenge on our linebackers being very disciplined, eye and mind discipline, because he's in a position to block and also hit those quick outs, those quick stick routes. So if you're not careful in terms of being mind and eye discipline, he's going to be able to, shake loose a little bit and catch some of those 3 to 6 to 8 yard catches. And that's how they've been very efficient and effective. So, just listening to Lou and the staff game plan, they know we need to be locked in with our linebackers to stop them.
Coach, you talked about the third and fourth down defense a little bit. What's the offensive plan against them?
Well, for us, we try not to make it too challenging. I mean, in terms of just mindset, take care of the ball, run the ball, take your shots downfield. Complete the deep ball, and I think we've been able to be very effective over, especially in this game. This past game was more complete to what I would expect. Take care of the ball, even though we threw an interception. Run the ball, keep the chains moving. Take full advantage of opportunities the defense has provided the offense and converting in scores, but also getting the ball completed downfield. And I really was pleased with that one throw Joe made, with Freddie Lee late in the game. I think when you're trying to close things out, you have to have that ability. And Joe's been very accurate in his throws downfield. We saw that with Alex Nutz in the Baylor game and a big time downfield. Same thing holds true for this game. We're going to have to take some shots. If you look at Ball State and how they were able to put 51 points on their defense, they made some incredible throws and catches in some very tight coverage situations. So we're going to have that same type of mentality going into this one.
Are they showing something different on third down on defense?
Some of it may be the plan other teams have had, and maybe it's, obviously you have to be effective in execution too. You got to throw and catch, and and sometimes some of that's been maybe penalties. Some of those have been extra long. When I was watching the film last night, I mean, they weren't 3rd and 7 and 11. Some of them were even further than that. So it makes it more challenging because somebody got a penalty maybe previous to that. So all those are contributing factors. But, we look at those things as what they're doing, and we'll have a great game plan. Yeah, I mean, I feel good about where we're at in terms of our ability to convert on third down, but it's more focused on where we are first and second down to be able to put us in shorter third down, opportunities. So that's really what we have to do, is stay on schedule, just like they do. They do a real nice job staying on schedule, and we got to have the same mentality. And our kids understand that.
Jeff, can you talk just a little bit about Pat Clark's bounce back? It didn't get off to the best start, and also the evolution to Tyler taking on the kickoffs.
Well, Tyler's worked extremely hard, and what I liked about Tyler is the fact that the strength of his leg was impressive. And it's interesting because we've had Pat do those duties, and Pat's outstanding too. Now both of them, it's nice to have those two in our program, but we really felt going into this one, Tyler emerged. He was able to get some touchbacks, and that was both ways Saturday. And that led us to them not having any return yardage. I mean, they had 0 return yardage. It was impressive for them to Tyler kicking 6 out of the end zone, 6 touchbacks, and then obviously he's 2 out of bounds. I told him I'm not interested in those 2 kicks, but I said, but also for him to respond and punt the ball as well as he did, and putting 2 inside the 20. So we punted 4 times with Tyler, you know, and he did the holding for Pat. I mean, Tyler Grassman, in our opinion, was the special teams player of the game. You know, he was just on fire. Such a competitive kid, great kid. And, you know, but I also was pleased with Pat, because Pat's been in those situations of kicking those field goals. I mean, for him to nail a 49 and a 50, and we had a couple other opportunities for him to do it right before half that he didn't convert on. But at the end of the day, we were going to continue keeping him out there. So I like what we have in terms of our personnel, and I like where they're positioned right now. I think they give us the best chance of helping us win, and keeping Tyler's kicking off and keeping Pat and PATs and field goals, you know, is the right decision, because it helps strengthen our team, and both of them understand that.
Coach Jonathan Snyder, Queen City Sports. How important was it in the UConn game to create the turnovers, to get the defense off the field? But how important is that going forward, especially against Eastern, a team that's, you said, it's kind of balanced and likes to chew up the clock?
Well, you know, it's interesting, because I talked to the team before the game, and I said in my pregame talk to them, I said, I know there's a number of you guys sitting out there thinking like I am, visualizing that play early in the game that's going to change the momentum, get the crowd excited and energized, get the sideline fired up. And I knew when I saw Redden do that in that first series, he was one of those guys, and there was other guys. And, you know, that just makes a big difference. I mean, especially when you're able to come up big and score off of it, you know, which was impressive to see us be able to convert that turnover, that forced fumble, into a score. Mason Schreck catches his first touchdown pass of his career here, and we know a lot of things, great things are going to happen with him. But then to come back and to get Nijah Johnson to come up, not just with the takeaway, but also to convert that into a touchdown, which is still my wife's favorite play in football, is a defensive score. So she loves that. And then just seeing, you know, how, you know, Gilbo's interception also converted into a field goal. We missed on one of the Courtney Lester, but what it does, it energizes your kids. I mean, the offensive guys, any split second you're on the sideline, the defense is out there, there's a chance you're going to get that ball back. I mean, that's powerful stuff, and these kids feed off it, and that's the mentality we want around here. And we've been able to convert a number of takeaways into over 40-some points so far in the season. We keep that up, good things are going to happen for us.
Well, how important is it for you guys to get pressure like you did in that game to allow the defensive backs to make those plays like Coach said?
Oh, the pressure is huge, and that was one of our game plans going into the game. And, you know, it was coming from everywhere. Like, some of the sacks we had, it was not only because of the pressure, but the coverage that we had downfield. You know, that was huge for a lot of the sacks that we got, and just all the players just rallying to the ball. So that was really big for that. And moving on to the next game, that's another big component. You know, some of the pressures that we have actually work well on the run. So maybe you'll see a couple of those come out. So, you know, we're looking forward to it.
Well, you guys finished strong on defense last year, and for obvious reasons maybe didn't get off to the start defensively that you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the Connecticut game was the game and the defense that you feel like this team is capable of playing week in and week out?
I definitely agree. This past game everyone was just clicking. I think we've all kind of found our niche, where we are, and, you know, how we feel around everyone else, and knowing where everyone's going to be at a certain time, and, you know, being able to rely on somebody. So I think it's all really coming together, and I can't wait for the next couple games just to see, you know, how our defense performs and, you know, what we can do, what we're capable of.
Does it change when the turnovers come like that, like you guys are able to force? Does it almost change your mindset in terms of instead of, you know, let's try to create a turnover, there's almost an expectation that okay, we can do this, you know.
I mean,
like something's going to come. If we play like we did last week, we're going to create a couple.
Oh, absolutely. You know, one fun thing about the turnovers, you know, one guy will get a turnover. It's like, oh, he got a turnover. I want to get a turnover. So that's what's fun about defense, is everyone's kind of competing against each other as they're competing, you know, against the other team. So we have fun with that. And, you know, once somebody gets a turnover, a big play, you know, and we get off the field, we're on the sidelines, we get hyped, we want to go right back out. So, you know, that's just something that we really enjoy, is getting those turnovers, making those big plays.
Jeff, how much of Redden's performance the last couple of weeks is a product of him just playing better and preparing better? How much of it is the position that he plays in your defense that may allow him to do some of those things?
I think for Adam Redden, it's all the above, Paul. You know, I've seen his growth has been outstanding, and his confidence level and where we've placed him and the emphasis of his role, in the scheme of things. We're moving him around a little bit. We're putting him up by the ball. I think that's where he's best suited. He's quick. He's explosive. He's a competitive son of a gun. I love his intensity. I love his passion for the game, and it's amazing. The best players are the ones that are excited about playing, and they always come up big in big games, and I think you're going to see that. You saw it last year at the tail end of the year when he blocked some kicks. A couple big-time special teams play. He's playing a significant role in that area too. So, it's exciting, and he's deserving of it. After the Stony Brook game, with as many tackles as he had, he never tired once. And he's a baller. He just loves the game and he loves to compete. And what that's done is it's made other guys around him better. And that's what we talk about being a 4. A guy who's a conscious, competent guy that brings others along. And Adam's really grown into that role, and he's accepting it, and he's doing a good job right now, and we got to continue counting on him.
Any injuries of note going forward here?
No starters are out other than, we had Bobby Blodgett step in for Dylan, and I think Bobby showed that he potentially is going to be that guy at right guard. But outside of that, it was good to get Bo back in there. That was a key guy for us. But outside of that, our defense is healthy, our offense is healthy. Everyone's, ready to go. And it just says a lot about the way our kids are recovering too, which is another big part of how we transition out of one game to the next, and seeing other guys step up for us.
You said yesterday you thought that was Joe's, I don't want to misquote you, you thought that was one of Joe's best games, or maybe his best game. Can you explain why you said that?
I think Joe, Licata has looked at what his previous performance looked like, in the Stony Brook game. And, he's a competitor. And, Don Patterson pointed out some things, just trying to make sure that he makes the proper decisions in critical times in the game. There was a couple moments in the Stony Brook game. I think Joe knew that, he probably needs to pull back in those moments, learn from it. That was his 3rd start of the season. This was his 4th start. To be able to secure a win from, the 2nd time we've been able to beat in an AQ conference or an AQ non-conference opponent, speaks volumes of his ability to manage the game. But, I thought he was really on target. He did a great job avoiding any sacks. His pocket presence was better. The offensive line protected well for him. Our backs picked up some of their blitzes. I think having Bo back there made a big difference for him, and when he has confidence to be able to throw the ball to Schreck, Campbell, Lee, Nutz, Weiser, a lot of those guys are all contributors in helping Joe grow. So, I felt it was a solid performance, one of his best up to this point, but we certainly aren't going to rest right there, Joe. We're going to continue getting you better, and he knows that, and that's what I love about Joe's ability to continue to grow.
Coach, you see a lot of conferences around the country kind of have a style of play or an identity. With you guys going into the first game of conference play, is it really important to kind of establish the way, I don't want to say the way you play, but establish an identity right off the bat?
And that's done on the field. That's the whole thing. We have I think we have a number of playmakers. When you start looking at the defensive side, we've talked extensively about who those playmakers are. Bo made reference to the players on the defensive side more comfortable with the scheme, and they're being able to do that. I think they're an opportunistic bunch. They're gritty. They play hard. They're physical. They play around. They fast, explosive, consistent. That's what we want from our defense, a great pursuing, tackling, and take the ball away. Offensively, we want to continue running the ball, be efficient in that aspect, but also having, the big-time plays downfield, taking some of those big-time shots, and just, again, being relentless in our special teams. But you create that identity each and every week as you build, and that's what we're starting to formulate. And these kids are finding that is to being more suitable towards who they are and their personality and who I am and my personality along with my coaching staff. So it's something that's work in progress. And as I told the team, you're not going to enjoy it until it's over. And we got some goals to accomplish, and this one's a big one, and we know how important it is.
Anything else? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Coach, you go over there, one-on-ones if